I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America, and you have a
Oh my
platform,
God.
and you're the biggest name.
Your victim card has been declined. Thank you. Next. We got to check in with Don Lemon, the so-called journalist in independent media world now on YouTube, but he's of course formerly of CNN, who is in real hot water right now. He's really in some jeopardy after participating or going along with a illegal protest where they shut down the church service in Minnesota, and he was kind of embedded with the protesters, and we talked about this. Well, he's now potentially facing federal charges, and the Trump administration has been very clear that they're looking at potentially prosecuting him, and he's panicked. He's definitely a little panicked, and you can tell. So he's starting to, spoiler, this will really shock y'all, play the victim and invoke his identity politics cards. Now, I said, and I do stand by this 100%, that unless some evidence comes out showing that he somehow like supported or coordinated or was involved with planning the disruption, I'm not sure that him simply tagging along and recording it and interviewing people, even in a biased way that indicates some sort of personal support for the protest, because he didn't actually join the mob that chanted and shut down the protest, the church service, I don't think he committed a crime other than maybe trespassing. And I think that if they do go after him with federal charges, they will have a tough time making them stick in court, unless some new information comes out that I'm not aware of, which is possible, of course. Anyway, he is responding to these threats of criminal charges by invoking the fact that he's gay and black. You can't make this shit up. Here is Don Lemon making excuses. Let's listen. And of course, he's with the just toxic and divisive left-wing podcaster Jennifer Welch. Let's listen to their conversation, the first part here.
You are a prize for them, an independent, gay, black, happy, successful man. And this is an attempt to intimidate and beat you down.
I don't disagree with that. And I didn't hear the first part, but I think that there is obviously there's racism in it. The whole point of it is that they're detaining people on the streets because of accents in the color of their skin, and they're also targeting people of color and black people as well as brown people. So there is a certain degree of racism there, and there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy, a white.
Okay, I have to pause on that for a second because we're about to get to the part where he plays the victim in this really insufferable way and invokes his identity card and all of that. But not only did Don Lemon vocally support, which again, I'm not sure is a crime, but I do think is crazy, that these protesters shutting down this church, he's now suggested that the parishioners at this church, that they shut down just because one of the people that works at the church may be an ICE officer. Right? But you're talking about hundreds or thousands of people that attend this church. And there were hundreds there that day, including people of all races and backgrounds and colors and different political perspectives as well. He's now suggested that they are entitled white supremacists because they don't think y'all have the right to storm in there and shut down their worship. No, babe. They're Americans who understand their rights and the law, and they aren't delusional, entitled, activist, ridiculous people like the folks you embedded yourself with, who, I don't know about you personally, Don, but they are going to jail. That activist lady that he so glowingly profiled in his 6-hour live stream, she's going to go to jail for this, or at least plead guilty to some kind of charge. I would say 95% confident of that. But anyway, let's keep listening to Don here as he plays the victim in the least surprising twist of all time.
Supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America, and you have a
Oh my
platform
God.
and you're the biggest name, of course you're going to be the person that they single out and they're going to make the headline because it plays to their base, and their base is full of racist, bigoted homophobes.
So there's so much to unpack here. But first and foremost, I rolled my eyes so hard when he invoked his identity traits as the reason they're going after him, or that he's associated with this protest that shut down the church. Or it could be because you're a famous journalist that live streamed and supported with your words the movement to millions of people. Could be that, actually. And I just find it ridiculous. Don't you think that if a straight white man progressive journalist had gone along and done exactly what Don Lemon did, who was equally famous, the Trump administration would still be calling them out and conservative media would be mad? I think so. I don't really think the fact that Don Lemon is black or gay has anything to do with it. And I actually think it's grotesque to weaponize those identity characteristics as a shield from legitimate criticism of the terrible and extremely biased journalism that you did covering this illegal protest. Yeah, that's gross, actually. And it's funny because the thing about the Trump administration and about President Trump, I don't know so much about the conservative media aspect of this, but at least as far as Trump is concerned, you can talk about whether he's said or done racist things in the past, and I think he definitely has. But if Don Lemon had left the left and said, "I love Trump," Trump would not care that he's black or gay. He would have made Don Lemon his frickin' press secretary. Like, they will love a black person or a gay person if they agree with them and love Trump and love MAGA. Now, you could have issues with that, but so to claim they're just like inherently against black and gay people and that's why they're demonizing Don Lemon is just obviously not true to me. I don't know. You guys will have to let me know what you think, but I found it despicable to weaponize and play the victim after you engaged in this terrible coverage where you illustrated that even after decades of being a professional journalist, you have no idea how the First Amendment works, and you cheered along. I don't know if you actually participated in it, but you cheered along this illegal disruption of peaceful worshipers. Yeah, you should be coming under heavy scrutiny and criticism for this. And your identity characteristics should not and do not shield you from that, Don. Now, even more interestingly in all of this, Nicki Minaj, who obviously is a pop star and is kind of in her MAGA arc, she was on stage with Turning Point USA and has come kind of full circle as I support Trump now, I guess, which fine, I guess that's her right. We could nitpick whether we agree with her or not on different statements she's made, but she called out Don Lemon, and he's now claiming that she was homophobic to him and used slurs. And I guess we will, let's listen to Don and Jennifer explain the horrific hate crime that Nicki Minaj supposedly did to him. Let's watch.
And their base is full of racist, bigoted homophobes, like Nicki Minaj, by the way.
Oh, pop that up. So Nicki Minaj sent a tweet out. Dawn cocksucking, her words, Lemon is disgusting. How dare you? I want that thug in jail. He would never do that to any other religion. Lock him up. And then she bizarrely puts a Chucky doll with it. So number one, the homophobia laced in that. But number two, the way this sect of Christianity, the white nationalist form of Christianity that I guess now Nicki Minaj attaches herself to, I'm like, good luck with that, sis. At the end of the day, you're still black. They use their religion as a weapon, but then they also use it as a shield, back and forth, back and forth. They weaponize it, and then, oh my God, I'm a victim. Don't attack my Christianity. And that's what Nicki Minaj just did right there. And I have news for Nicki Minaj. You think these white nationalists are going to accept you and your WAP? Just hide and wait. These people are serious about their racism, Miss Minaj.
Well, I'm glad you said WAP, and if you listen to Nicki Minaj's music and you're like, okay, that's Christianity.
Don did go on, not in this clip, to accuse her of being homophobic and using a slur. Now, there's so much to unpack here. Do I think Nicki Minaj should have said that about Don Lemon? Not really. I think I don't really support personal insults. I believe in substantive criticism of people, but is it homophobic? I guess not. I could see how you could sort of look at it that way, but people do call each other that with regularity, gay or not. You know, a COCK sucker is just an insult that people throw around at each other. And Nicki Minaj does have a very, very, very long history of supporting gay people. So to deem her homophobic on the basis of that one comment seems like a stretch to me. Seems more like she was just trying to insult him. And frankly, I think you could probably find instances of Jennifer Welch herself many times calling someone that or suggesting that they do that. And I'm sure she wouldn't agree. That makes her homophobic. So I'm not really buying that. And none of it gets Don off the hook for the legitimate criticisms here. And I do have to say, what I find really funny is that they are claiming Republicans are racist while confusing, apparently, two black women rappers interchangeably. Because WAP, the song they reference, I'm pretty sure that's a Cardi B song, not a Nicki Minaj song. And yet they are attributing it to Nicki Minaj just because she is a black female rapper. And to be fair, like, that's not the craziest mix-up. Their musical styles and their brands are somewhat similar, but it's just funny to be throwing around racism accusations while actively confusing two black women. Do they all look the same, Jennifer? I don't know. Not to be the wokester here, but like that's a little funny to me. Is that not funny to y'all? More than anything, I find this whole shtick ridiculous. Don Lemon is not a victim in this situation, okay? The families that wanted to attend their church service and had it disrupted in a frankly scary way in this age, and this is what people need to understand, in this age of unhinged mass violence that we see, when people suddenly storm into a church and start screaming, I bet you a lot of those people in that audience were genuinely fearful for their lives, because it's not like, to be clear, they didn't commit violence. They didn't hurt anyone as far as I've seen. But in that moment, you would be scared and intimidated thinking that might be what's happening, because we've seen so many stories like that. I've personally experienced that when I was on a debate stage at a college campus where there were all these crazy protesters banging against the walls and burning people in effigy. Somebody got up and rushed towards the front of the stage to ask a question and grab the mic. But we didn't know that's what they were doing. We just thought they were rushing the stage. And for a minute, we thought we were going to be attacked. And so people are genuinely scared and fearful. And this had a very upsetting impact on some of these families and kids that, of course, Don Lemon, and we played this on the show yesterday, mocked the kids' trauma and said that's just part of protest. Yeah, it's not supposed to be. And invoking the fact that you're black and gay, which no one really cares about, Don, is not going to get you off the hook for this shoddy act of terrible, terrible activist biased journalism. And you're still potentially going to be facing federal charges. So I would suggest that you maybe consult a lawyer instead of a bitter podcaster like Jennifer Welch. That's just my suggestion, my free advice from me to you, Don Lemon. But I'm not, as far as I'm concerned, your victim card has been declined. Thank you. Next.